Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I am Ken Walls and I'm your host. And I have a very special guest on today. And I just met this gentleman, so I'm excited to hear his story and chat with him about what he does in the world's current events, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to welcome my new friend, Dave Nassaney. Nassaney.
Correct.
I got it. Dave, how you doing?
Great.
You're out there in you said out in Los Angeles.
The city of Los Angeles. Yes.
I have a lot of friends out there. So I told you I started this show a couple years ago to just to give back to the world and help people get unstuck. I think we've all been, especially right now in those places where we feel lost or stuck and,
Yep.
So why don't we start with you sharing where you were born and raised? Start there.
Well, I wasn't always in LA. I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
And when I was 6 years old, my parents told me we're moving to California.
Wow.
And I really had no choice. So I went with them. I have an older brother, older sister. And my father was also in the gas station business, as I am. I think he had a station in the Bronx. And then he came out here and he's had a station ever since. And one by one, the family followed him out and he would put him in the gas station business. And God, at one point, I think we had 20 gas stations owned by various different family members, cousins, uncles, brothers, you name it.
Wow.
And I'm the only one left who still has a gas station after 40 years. They have all either died off or gone out of business or whatever. So that's my legacy.
Wow. And you have how many? Just one?
Just one. I've downsized. I had 5 at one time, but that was just like 4 headaches and one good one. So I got rid of the headaches and kept the good one,
Yeah.
What a lot of people do with their wives, but I've been married 45 years.
You've been married 45 years?
Yeah. Gas station 40, married 45.
Oh my
44 or 45. I can't remember. I think I count the 1 year and 3 months that we weren't married, but we were together because, we were married.
Yeah. Wow. That's a long time to be married.
That is a long time to be married. And basically that's why I'm famous today. It's because I married a woman who 23 years ago had a stroke in the prime of her life, 52 years old. We were entering into the empty nest phase of life. We had raised 3 daughters, 2 from her previous marriage, and 1 we had together. And all of a sudden, we're getting excited. We can travel now, and we got 3 daughters out of the house. We got them all married, each one twice. And she complains about this headache she had for 3 days, the headache of her life. It was on a Labor Day weekend. And so, we didn't really want to go to the ER on a holiday like that. But we were going to go. She was going to go after the Monday was over. But instead, the ambulance had to come, and she suffered a massive stroke and left her severely speech impaired, paralyzed on one side. And in that moment, our world turned upside down. Nothing would ever be the same again.
At 52?
52. And I was a younger man. She married a younger guy. So I was 42. So here, 42 years old, and my wife becomes permanently disabled. Of course, we didn't know it was going to be permanent. I'm an optimist, so we were just believing that this was just going to be a speed bump, and everything was going to be fine. But the days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, the months turned into years, the years turned into decades, and I'm sure glad nobody told me 40 years ago, or 23 years ago, I should say. Someone's saying, hello, who is that?
Gaddy Bacali.
People from Facebook. Hello, Gabby. So that was I guess I'm on a need-to-know basis. Anyone who's going to tragedy, they don't need to be told, 23 years from now, you're still going to be dealing with this. That would just have made me
Wow.
very depressed, and I might have just done something that I shouldn't have. You know, the first 2 years was called the grief process. I didn't even know what the grief process was. Didn't even know what a caregiver was. Didn't know anything. I was just a dummy when it comes to that kind of stuff. The paramedics said, "Yeah, she's having a stroke. What should we do with her?" And I realized that I gave away the most important decision that I would ever make in my life: where to send my wife when she's having a stroke. And I says, "I don't know. Where would you send your wife if she was having a stroke?"
Wow.
Because there were two hospitals. We were living in Burbank at the time. The closest one was this small, rinky-dink private hospital that didn't have a lot of correct equipment. And the other one was this huge medical center, maybe about 10 minutes further away. If they had chosen the larger medical center, my wife would probably be normal today. But instead, they chose the closest hospital, which I guess is some kind of policy. But see, with a stroke, you have a 3-hour window. So we had plenty of time to kill 10 more minutes to go to the other place. But, you can't cry over spilled milk. And I
Yeah.
am strong in my faith, and I believe everything happens for a reason. And this stroke has certainly caused us to be different, stronger, more resilient people. And, I wouldn't change anything for $1 million, but, I wouldn't want to repeat anything for $1 billion, because
Yeah.
once is enough.
Wow. Man, that's a lot. So
And I still have a smile on my face and joy
you
in my
do.
heart. And so does my wife. She makes all of us look like whiners and complainers because she still can't talk after 23 years, but she can communicate non-verbally, which they say most communication is nonverbal. So she uses charades and Pictionary to communicate, two games that I really hate, by the way, but I'm learning to love. And she still can't walk, but we got her this power chair, and she goes faster than me. I'm getting a little slow with arthritis in my feet, and
Wow.
sometimes I've got to, at the supermarket, just get in one of those wheelchair things just to keep up with her. She's like a cross between Martha Stewart and Wonder Woman, or like a one-armed wallpaper hanger. She's a gourmet cook. She's an interior decorator. She is a seamstress. She's an arts and crafts people. She makes these ceramic dolls. I mean, my gosh, talk about an overachiever. And she does it all with one arm and one leg tied behind her back and duct tape over her mouth, basically, because she can't talk.
Wow. So we fast forwarded through your upbringing, and I'd like to back up, because let me tell you, I have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch the show and listen to the show on podcasts. You grew up being raised by entrepreneurs.
Yes, that's true. I must have it in my blood. They say entrepreneurs are born, they are not taught, because some people just like the safety of a paycheck.
Yes.
And they can't sleep at night wondering, oh my God, am I going to make payroll? How am I going to pay my taxes? This and that. But entrepreneurs are a different kind of breed of animal. We know that there are rough times. Many times I could not make my payroll. Many times my employees were making more money than I was.
Yeah.
And faced bankruptcy a couple of times, but was able to slip out of it, and didn't happen. Able to settle the debts, pennies on the dollar, especially in 2008. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
But here I am, stronger, debt-free, and like I said, wouldn't want to repeat it for $1 billion, but that was my own kind of financial stroke. But entrepreneurs, you should try it, and if you can sleep at night and do it, then maybe you're a born entrepreneur.
So growing up, did you watch it sounds like your dad was the guy that was the entrepreneur. I don't know how involved your mother was, but
well,
did you watch them struggle with the stuff you just talked about?
No, I don't remember struggling ever. I mean, he was a great provider. I'm the new improved version of him, because he was a workaholic. I mean, the guy worked 7 days a week, and he knew how to put food on the table and stuff.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Well, let me put it this way. When we moved out to California, I was 6 years old. I remember when I was 8, he took me to the zoo, And then the next thing I remember that he ever did with me, I was 12. We went on a deep sea fishing trip. And the next thing I remember, I don't remember anything else. So we didn't do very much. He wasn't a great father as far as, being nurturing and teaching me how to, be cool with my clothes and my hair in school. I had to figure that out by myself, and I didn't do a very good job. And he didn't throw the ball with me so that I could be good in sports. So school was hard. I wasn't. I didn't have a lot of gifts athletically, or I wasn't one of the cool kids. But he was a very good provider. And as I became a teenager, I worked at the gas station since I was 12, it seems like. He's a mechanic also, taught me how to be a mechanic. So I have a trade. If I, ever need a trade, I can always fall back and do brake jobs and stuff. But cars have changed so much, there's like computers under the hood, and I don't think I can fix the computers or anything like that. But I used to go to school with dirt in my fingernails and my fingerprints, and they used to call me a grease monkey. And but I appreciate him. He was very good to us when I married my wife. He helped us get our first house. So he was a very generous man.
Wow.
And he was an alcoholic also. So he died when he was 63. Loved to drink that scotch. And he wasn't exactly the most faithful to my mother. So, I mean, like I said, I'm the new improved version. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm not a workaholic. I know how to have fun, and I've never cheated on my wife. So, but I love him, and he was a great dad.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. So you went to school, I guess, out in LA.
Catholic school, 12 years.
Wow.
In fact, 13 years if you count they left me back in first grade because they said I was right in the middle of, I was too old but not too young, and so I really did 13 years.
Wow.
Maybe that was my kindergarten. I don't know.
Did you go to college?
Yes, I went to a junior college the first 2 years, and then I went to USC and majored in business administration. The only child who went to college and has a degree.
Wow.
And the whole family, I think my father was going through a divorce by the time I was in my second year. So he was having trouble paying for the college. It was only $100 a unit back then.
Right.
Now it's like $10,000 a unit. But they even had trouble coming up with the money. I think my father paid for one semester, and my brother paid for another semester, and I think I got some grants and stuff. And somehow I made it through. And so I started interviewing because I wanted to get out of the gas station business. I was sick of it,
Yeah.
But I met a girl. She was a woman, a WOMAN.
Yeah.
And I was planning this sailing trip, and I used to go sailing with her husband because she was 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And one time he brought her on a sailing trip. Can I bring my wife? I said, yeah, because it's hard to find people to go sailing in the middle of the week because I was in college, and everyone else has real jobs. But this guy seemed to be an entrepreneur. He had a junk sale or a garage sale or an estate sale at his house every week, and he would always buy out estates. And so he had a very flexible schedule. And so afterwards, it was a couple of years since I've seen him, and I didn't realize when I was putting together another sailing trip that this woman was the best friend of the wife of one of my father's employees, because a lot of my sailing partners were employees of the gas station.
Right.
And I was putting together a sailing trip, and she was overhearing all of this. And all of a sudden I hear, I want to go sailing too. And I look up, and I looked at her. She looked familiar. And I says, do I know you? She goes, yes, I'm Charlene. And I'm still thinking. She goes, John's wife. And then she says, ex-wife. And I says, oh, I'm sorry. She says, don't be. He was a real jerk. And we've been divorced for 2 years. I says, oh, that's probably why I haven't seen you or him.
Yeah.
And she says, so can I go? And I says, well, you went with us once before, right? And she says, yeah. I says, did you get sick? She goes, no. I says, okay, you can come. And
Wow.
the next thing I get a phone call from this older woman. I'm like 20, I mean, we
Yeah.
didn't even trust people over 30. And here this older woman, I didn't look at her romantically or anything. I didn't even look at her that way. Didn't
Right.
even know if she was attractive because she was 30. She's old.
Old. Really
So she
old.
calls me up and she says, I just wanted to thank you for inviting me to go sailing. And I says, okay, yes. She goes, I'm a gourmet cook, which I didn't know what that meant. She says, I'd like to cook you a meal. And I'm thinking, I'm kind of like Raymond, and everyone loves Raymond, with his first date with Deborah, the
Yeah.
futon salesman, and things are just going over my head. And I said, I'm saying to myself, why? I'm a starving student, so okay, I'll go
Yeah.
to a free meal.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't know what gourmet meant because I'm Middle Eastern, and all we ever ate was Syrian food
Right.
and burnt meat because that's how my father liked his meat, well done. And so I had a very undeveloped palate.
Right.
So I show up to this house of this older woman, and I ring the doorbell, and she opens the door, and all of a sudden, I'm hit with these three different smells that just were I had never smelled them before. Well, one of them I smelled before. The first one was the perfume of this woman. I didn't
Right.
know what it was at the time. It was Giorgio, and it smelled pretty dang good. And the second smell
That was
was
actually going to be my guess. The first smell was the perfume.
the second smell was a very familiar smell to me. It was incense burning in the background because it was the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, and the third smell was some amazing aroma coming from the kitchen that I had never smelled anything even close to that before.
Wow.
And then I noticed in the background it was dark and candles were flickering. And then I hear coming from a speaker, unforgettable, that's what you are. And then all of a sudden, everything just froze. You see on TV,
Yeah.
everybody freezes except the person. And that was me. And I'm thinking, oh, crap, I'm on a date. And I
Oh
said,
my God.
oh, crap, do I want to be on a date with this older woman? So I immediately, this is all happening in a flash of a second. And it's just,
Yeah.
going on in my mind slowly. I says, I better check her out. So I checked her out top to bottom. And you know what? She looked pretty good for the first time.
Yeah.
And she was wearing this moo thing. And so then I said to myself, I can do this. And then reality came back. And she says, oh, you're going to love this evening. It's an 8-course meal. And the theme is everything is stuffed. We had stuffed dessert, stuffed caviar with mushrooms,
Oh,
stuffed Cornish game hen, stuffed dessert. And I don't know what else was stuffed. But by the end of the evening, I was stuffed.
wow.
Needless to say, the date went very well. And I looked at her differently. And so we went on our sailing trip.
Wow.
And she was my girlfriend now, right? On our first date.
Yeah.
And it's a 48-hour trip. I'm the captain, and we leave from Marina del Rey. We leave at midnight, and we sail all night in the darkness. And by the time the sun comes up, there's Catalina Island. And when we got there, we all had fun. We got off the boat and farted around on the island, came back and had a wonderful night's sleep. And during the night, I remember it was very windy, one of those Santa Ana winds in LA, which just blows from the desert, hot wind, and it blows all the fog and the haze away. And I remember looking up in the hatch in the boat and just seeing billions and billions of stars and shooting stars. And so all that night we were rocked to sleep with the wind and hearing the halyards clang against. By the time we woke up, I hear this flag fluttering. Small craft advisories, 30-mile-an-hour winds,
Oh, gee.
10-foot swells. And we're supposed to sail back that day. And I had never sailed in bad weather like that. And I was trying to tell my crew of misfits of gas station employees, kind of like the car wash crew,
Right.
that, maybe we should wait another day before we go back. No, your dad's going to fire us. Your brother will fire us. We can't do that. So I had a mutiny on my hands. So I said, well, let me go ashore and find some salty captain who can give me some advice how to get back safely. And I find this guy with a beard, white beard down to here. He looked like Popeye. He had a hat on that said sailor.
Wow.
And I says, "Hey, how you doing?" He says, "Yeah." I says, "Would you go out on a day like this?" He says, "Not if I didn't have to." I says, "Well, we kind of have to. What advice can you give us?" So he gave us some advice, like hit the waves at a 45-degree angle so that when you hit the top of the wave, the boat doesn't just fall 10 feet and crack the hull. And he says, "Oh, crap."
Oh, my
I
God.
said, "Okay. So, yeah, lower your sails so you're not blowing over and motor all the way." And so he gave us some good advice. And as
Yeah.
I'm leaving, he says, "Oh, by the way, have you got foul weather gear?" And I said, "You mean raincoats?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "No." He says, "Too bad. It's going to be a wet trip." Well, it was a very wet trip. And the first hour was incredibly fun, like the Old Spice guy, it was exciting, invigorating. Every wave was splashing this mist, and my big navy pea coat after an hour weighed about 100 pounds.
Oh, my
And after a
God.
while, the wind started cutting through us, and I turned around to look at the crew. They're all getting sick one by one. They're turning green, going down below to barf. And I look at my girlfriend. Did I tell you this was our first date?
Oh, my God.
And she's green and she's barfing. I says, "Oh man, she's never going to want to go out with me again."
Yeah.
And so, and then one guy starts freaking out. "We're going to die. We're never going to see land again." I said, "Shut up. I've been through storms worse than this. We're going to see land. Just keep your mouth shut and do your job."
Right.
Well, the next 8 hours was very quiet. And then finally, what seemed like an eternity, someone screams, "Land ho!" And I look up and I could see the breakwater of Marina Del Rey, and everyone starts celebrating, hey, high-fiving. "I knew we'd get back." And say, "No, you didn't." And then my girlfriend says, "I knew you'd get us back." Well, needless to say, she went out with me again and again and again.
Wow.
And a year and 3 months later, we got married.
Wow.
And this is the woman who had the stroke, and this is the amazing woman who, is just my hero.
Wow.
Hopefully that's enough background for you.
That's incredible, man. So you so were your parents immigrants here then?
No, they were second generation. My
Okay.
grandparents were immigrants in 1911 or 1915. I can't remember which year. They were fleeing the Armenian genocide because they weren't Armenian, but they looked Armenian.
Yeah.
And the Turks were killing everybody. I mean, so
Wow.
kind of like they are today, I guess.
Yeah.
But they came over, and in exchange for fighting in World War I, they were granted citizenship, which is a great system, don't you think?
Yeah.
Earn your citizenship.
Yeah.
Don't just sneak over the border.
And you get to live here if you don't die.
Yeah. And so he, one by one, he brought his brothers and stuff, and we're proud to be Americans. And they learned English. They had thick accents. And then my parents, and I this is both sides. So I'm 100% Middle Eastern. I don't need to take a test with genealogy.com. I know where I'm from. Aleppo, where ISIS destroyed the second oldest city in the world.
Wow.
And we, my parents had no accents. They were totally Americanized.
Yeah.
And so I'm third generation. I grew up eating the food and listening to the Syrian music and having the parties. And so by the time third generation comes around, we don't want any part of that. We're sick of it.
Yeah.
And I have Korean partners in the gas station, and they're first generation. Their kids are second generation.
Yeah.
It's almost like the same thing. They have no accents and they're kind of Americanized.
Yeah.
And I keep telling my partners is by the time they have children, they will want nothing to do with speaking Korean or hearing Korean music and everything. I'm just warning you.
Right. So you made it safely back on your unbelievable sailing trip. My wife's family, her father always had a sailboat.
I love it.
We have Lake Erie here in Ohio, which is a giant body of water.
I went on St. Joe, Michigan. We had I was involved in prepaid legal, and the guy had a beautiful house on St. Joseph, and I went there quite a bit.
Yeah.
That lake can get pretty ferocious.
Yeah.
For being a lake. I mean, kind of like the ocean.
I mean, it's a giant body of water. And that's, you know, so she's always, her brother has a sailboat, and so, you know, I know nothing about it except for if I was in charge, we would all die. So it doesn't even have to be choppy and we would all die. So you got married, and did you guys end up having children?
Yeah, she had two children, a 5-year-old, 10-year-old. Everybody's saying, "Are you crazy? You're going." I mean, I'm in my third year at USC, so I'm like 20, 21,
Yeah.
and they're saying you're dating this older woman who has these kids and a crazy ex-husband. He had beaten her up one time.
Oh my
Came
God.
home high, and I guess he wanted to leave, and she didn't want to leave. She's like, no, stand by your man.
Yeah.
And so he gave her two black eyes and a broken nose, and so she got the hint. Okay, I'm leaving. You'll never do this again. And then he
Wow.
felt remorse. He wanted her back. Started stalking her. She tried going out with guys, and he would like slash their tires and stuff. This is the guy I used to go sailing with.
Oh,
And so she invites me over to dinner. Something happens, and then we go sailing, and now we're seeing each other.
yeah.
And I was like, fools rush in where angels dare to tread. I'm starting to say, should I be doing this? Everyone said you're crazy. My parents says, what, are you crazy? You're still in college, and things got serious. We never.
She's old.
Yeah, she's old, and but once they met her, they loved her.
Sure.
But still, they were concerned about me because they didn't wanted me to finish school and was afraid that I wouldn't, and were so in my last year of college, we got married, by the way, and he never bothered me. He never came by. He would just leave gifts for the kids on the doorstep on birthdays and Christmas, and just drive away. He wasn't a very good father to them.
Yeah.
But he died about 5 years ago, and he left a message to one of his daughters. It says, "Tell David that I'm appreciative that he took care of my wife." He calls him his wife, and that I'm so glad that I allowed him to marry her. So,
Jeez. Wow. He
yeah,
died with issues.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like some
So,
serious.
but again, I am grateful that he didn't bother me the way he did the other guys, and we never had a fight. We never argued about anything. And, after a year and 3 months, we knew we either had to get married or break up because we had both kind of become Christians at that time. My mother had become a Christian, and she was inviting me to her new church because we're Catholics, right? But now she's involved in some evangelical thing. And I said, just leave me alone. I have God in my heart. I'm okay, But she saw that it was hopeless getting me to go to church. So she started working on my girlfriend. And my girlfriend came up one day and she says, your mother asked me to go to church. And I said, I would. I said, no, now I have to go. Why'd you do that? So we went, and it was a Monday night prayer meeting, and it was very interesting. People were standing up. It was like a testimony. As, yeah, I was divorced, and my wife was a witch, and we both met Jesus, and now we're back together again. It's a miracle. And those other one will say, I had cancer. Now look at the X-rays. The cancer's gone, and
Yeah.
and I'm, it was very interesting. And I was, I'm an intellectual college student, so I thought it was. So I went back, and again and again and again. And at some point, I guess I accepted Jesus in my heart, and so did she. And so we knew we either had to get married or break up because, we didn't want to live in sin. We wanted to be holy.
Right.
And so I made a deal with God because I never wanted to get married. I was a confirmed bachelor, and I never wanted to have children because, this world was just too evil back in 1975 to
Right.
raise kids in. Let's not even talk about today.
Yeah. Right.
So I made a deal with God. I says, listen, everyone I know is divorced. That's why I'm against marriage. My brother, my father, my sister, my uncle, my aunts, my cousins, they're all divorced. I'm not getting married. But if you want me to get married and you can promise that I will never get a divorce, I will serve you till the day I die. And I've tried to uphold my end of the bargain, and he certainly has upheld his. Because even, with a stroke, not many people make it. We went to support groups, and a lot of these stroke victims, their spouses left them. They says, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't sign up for this. I have a life. Um,
Yeah.
I think even Newt Gingrich, when his first wife came down with cancer, he served the divorce papers while she was still in the hospital. So here I am, and God has been faithful, and we are as much in love as we ever have been. We both have smiles on our face, joy in our heart. And it's not like she's disabled. I mean, it's just the new normal. People look at me and they feel sorry. Oh, that poor guy, his wife. Don't feel sorry for me. We have a normal relationship. We joke around. We
Right.
travel all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
That's incredible, man. That is absolutely incredible. I have a friend that I told her I was interviewing you. She's a nurse practitioner in Michigan, and she owns a bunch of care facilities, and she actually works with a lot of the same type of people you do, and the caring for the caregivers.
Yeah.
And so she literally sent me a message right when we were starting this of a picture. She looks tired. She said, I'm in the middle of COVID hell right now. So,
Yeah.
she's dealing with that, but she said she'll come back and watch the replay. But and that's something that I think a lot of people don't really put a lot of thought into what you do for your wife. You said in sickness and in health, and you weren't joking.
I can't take any credit for it because I'm just a normal guy, and I could have ended up like those other guys who left my wife. We had a 2-year grieving period, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, and I almost did leave her because she became angry and bitter for the next 2 years after her stroke. And I just didn't think I could take it anymore. And so I sat down, I wrote her a letter. I said, Charlene, why are you so mean to me? I said, it's so hard being your husband, taking care of you 24/7, not feeling any crumbs of appreciation in return. I said, I know it's hard on you, but you're making it even harder on me to be your caregiver. I says, I just don't think I can be with you anymore. And I'll take care of you financially. I just can't be with you. I looked at that letter and I read it over and over again. And I just couldn't give it to her. I says, how can I give this to the mother of my children, to my soulmate, to the woman I've been married to for 23 years at that time?
Wow.
I put it in my filing cabinet, and I just went on in my loneliness and my depression. And then one day, I find like a business card in my pocket. I don't know how it got there, who gave it to me, but I was living at the hospital with her for about 6 weeks. Maybe somebody gave it me there. And it was inviting me to a caregiver support group. I didn't even know what a caregiver was, but I figured if somebody gave this to me, maybe I should go. So I went, and everything changed for me. I met people there just like me, burned out caregivers.
Wow.
I learned that if I didn't take care of me, I couldn't take care of Charlene. And that I was reminded that the airlines tell us every single time, in the event of an emergency, put your oxygen mask on first before you help your loved one with their mask.
Yep.
Wow, what an amazing metaphor for all of life. Take care of you first.
Yeah.
So, I slowly started putting my needs first, being a little selfish, And if I needed to get away, I would bring in her mother to watch her, and I would head off to New York and spend the weekend with some cousins that I hadn't seen in decades. And then I'd come back rejuvenated, and maybe the next week the weekend I would go to Nashville to my other cousins and come back rejuvenated. And the next weekend I would go to Florida with more cousins. And so I was learning. Hi, Sherry. I was learning how to put my needs first. It felt a little guilty and a little selfish at first, but these guys say I should do it, so I'm just going to do it. I just blindly followed them. And I guess she realized that I was going to take care of me, and that she couldn't bring me down, and because misery loves company, and right. Yeah. And so I like to believe that what I was doing was contagious. And so she realized, well, maybe I should get my act together too. Because she was, we decorate the house, or she decorates the house. She's a Christmas nut every Christmas, like, like Chevy Chase,
That's my wife.
And one Christmas, it was dark, nothing. And so my daughter and I says, well, let's at least, put something up. And we made a feeble attempt. I mean,
Yeah.
you could tell that it wasn't Charlene who did it. But all of a sudden she started looking around at the house. We had moved because we had a beautiful house in Burbank. And she wanted to die there, just bury me in the backyard. This was before
Yeah.
her stroke, that this was the house. I'm never moving again.
Right.
And it was two-story. It wasn't good for us. And it was for 19 years, I was commuting back and forth to the gas station in Castaic, 30 miles. And either the gas station was suffering or she was suffering. And so I says, we're moving. She goes, no, kicking and screaming. I had to take her. And I says, listen, I'm moving with or without you. So you can come, or I'll get you an apartment near your children, who
Right.
you say you want to be near, who never visit you. They visit sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's, we moved. And so the house was like new. It was white and no window dressing, no decorating, no nothing. And she's an interior decorating.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg. And so she came back slowly but surely, and started becoming her old self again. And our love was rekindled. And I'm glad I didn't give up. I'm glad I didn't leave, because now look at us,
Yeah.
So I can't take all the credit. God, was very merciful and showed us a lot of grace, and I give credit to Him, because I'm just a dummy,
Dude, that's incredible. Sorry, do you mind me calling you dude? I'm known for that. So if I was sitting here talking to
My
Trump,
grandchild calls me dude, so I guess it's okay if you do. I have 7 of them, by the way.
wow. How
The oldest is 30 something, 32, and the youngest is 16.
Oh my gosh.
My oldest daughter, which, is the one that I inherited, is 57, and then 52, and then 42.
Wow.
3 daughters. The gardener's here, so hopefully you can not overhear the lawnmower.
I do not hear that.
Good.
Yeah.
I have a good microphone.
Yes, you do. So you do you guys go to church then?
Yeah, we go to church every single Sunday, and we love it. We enjoy it. I'm the cameraman at the church, so thanks to me and a couple other cameramen, we broadcast the service all over the world, and it's an online campus, and we have 2 or 3 satellite churches now. It's growing amazingly. It started in a school auditorium with like 8 people, and now it's got over 5,000 people. It's a wonderful church, and I love it. It's called Higher Vision, and it's Pastor Jared Ming, Ming.
That's
and
awesome.
you can hear our wonderful service online at highervision.church. There's a shameless plug for him.
Love that. That's awesome. So you give all the credit and the glory to God. That's amazing.
I have to, because I know I'm just a feeble guy who's just as weak as the next guy, and so I don't judge people. I just, my advice to everybody, I have a new book that's coming out. It's called Dave's Hammock Wisdom. I've changed the subtitle so many times. I'm trying to remember which one we're doing. What is the subtitle? Dave's Hammock Wisdom. Well, I'll think of it later.
My wife is watching, by the way.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Jill. That's right. That is correct. Highervision.church. You'll love it.
That's awesome. So,
and then on my other book, it's My Life Too, Thrive and Stay Alive as a Caregiver. It's about it's for caregivers who know they need to put their needs first, but they just don't know how. And I like to say, if you're not a caregiver, just wait. You're either going to become one or you're going to need one. There's no escaping it. Everyone is going to have to learn how to be a caregiver. And now's the time to do it, because if you don't do it now, tragedy will strike and it'll be too late. Don't be like me.
Wow.
I had to learn the hard way. So see, I'm trying to teach you. So, I have a syndicated radio show. I have appeared on 32 TV shows all across the country. I've spoken at Harvard with Suzanne Summers. I'm a best-selling author. And I'm just sharing my message to caregivers how to prevent your loved one's illness and now the coronavirus from killing both of you.
Yeah.
Because there's things that you can do to help. Since coronavirus has come out, caregivers had enough on their plate with stress. 30% of them die because of the stress.
Right.
Now, if caregivers have a compromised immune system, and according to AARP, 41% are burned out and have a compromised immune system.
Yeah.
That means that you are at more risk of coronavirus and infecting your loved one. So I've got like 5 tips to give caregivers to help them to be free. So I've got these little props too. The first one is caregivers don't know when to stay at home and take care of their loved one or go to the ER because something happened. I mean, here's a clue. If your loved one falls down and breaks a bone, take him to the ER, get an X-ray.
Wow.
Because the risk of getting infected at the ER of coronavirus, which a lot of people are afraid of,
Right.
is much less than the risk of getting infected from a broken bone.
Right.
So,
Right.
and then tip number 2 is just follow the CDC rules. I mean, they say, distancing 6 feet, right? So I got a ruler here, and just think about where that person who you might be too close to, where they've been and who they've touched.
Right.
I mean, I remember in the olden days, they says, whenever you sleep with someone, you have just slept with everyone that they have ever slept with in your life.
Right.
Oh my God, what a scary thought. But that's kind of where we're living right now.
Yeah.
The third tip that I
You
have.
don't even have to sleep with them anymore. Just be in their presence. Be close to them.
The third tip I have is, and this happened to an employee of mine. He had a fever, and they wouldn't test him for the thing. They said, "I'm sorry, we're just testing older people."
Right.
If you are ever denied to be helped by a healthcare professional, ask to speak to their supervisor, because you need to find out what policy that they are adhering to. So demand to speak to their advisor. I
Right.
told that kid, I says, you should have says, "Hey, I have a fever and I want to test. I want it now," because the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.
And the fourth tip that I have is a lot of people are long distance caregivers to their elderly mother who lives home. Maybe she shouldn't be living home, but you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you're tempted to go there. Maybe they're 20 or 200 miles away, and
Right.
you could be there in a few hours, but you're tempted to go there. No, I say follow ET, phone home.
Yes.
Don't, and if you absolutely have to go, then remember the distancing rule.
Yeah.
So don't hug, no hugs. And then the last tip I'd say, just be balanced. And I have a level here. Like, be level-headed, because if you're just logical and not emotional and can not have irrational fear. I mean, some of these caregivers stories I'm hearing, they're making very bad decisions because they're letting the fear get the best of them.
Yeah.
What they're fearing, I mean, there's more of a chance of them winning the lottery or getting struck by lightning 2 times than what they're fearing.
Right.
Go to the ER if you need to. They've got everything under control. They're wearing masks. They have procedures. You're not going to catch the coronavirus in an ER. I guarantee you. They have taken precautions.
Right.
So don't be fearful. Don't be irrational. And so I've come up with a care formula to help caregivers not burn out so that they can also keep their immune system strong. And so C, communicate with your friends and don't isolate yourself. A, ask for help and be specific. R, rest. Caregivers need 8 hours rest every single night. The average caregiver only gets 2 or 3. I can't survive on 2 or 3 hours. Can you?
No.
And E, eat healthy, nutritious food. Don't eat junk food. Junk food's got chemicals, sugar, processed ingredients. All that stuff will kill you.
Right.
That's why I wrote my book, and that's why I have my membership website, caregiverdave.com. It's an online support. You don't have to go driving different places to get support. You can get it online now. And I'm offering 3 free gifts to everyone who goes to caregiverdave.com, yours for the taking, because I want you to thrive and not just survive.
Wow. That is awesome. I'm putting it up on the screen right now.
Thank you.
Caregiverdave.com. So, I think, I posted something the other day about from Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's he's a world expert when it comes to immunology and the stuff. And he said that, and I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I get it wrong, but he said that it's the stress that releases chemicals into the body that creates more opportunity for not just the coronavirus, but other issues, other viruses. I mean, we're in the middle of flu season. Like,
I know,
it's not just corona.
And nobody seems to care about the hundreds of thousands of people that are dying every single year. You know, why don't we stop that? I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't do what we're doing, but you know, when the medicine is stronger and more deadly than the thing that you're trying to prevent, I mean, really, are we going to destroy this economy that might take 10 years to rebuild? If it ever gets rebuilt, companies go away that will never come back again. I mean, I have a gas station. My sales are down 50%. The restaurant behind me, thank God that they're doing takeout, or they would be in trouble as well. And I'm grateful to all the local people who are supporting your local business because they need you.
Yeah.
But what about my granddaughter who's a hairdresser? They closed the salon. She can't even cut hair. You know, she'd have to do it in our home, and that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. So now they're incentivizing people to do things at home that they shouldn't do at home, that you may even transmit the virus even more. So
I understand that, but also I'm a survivor personally, and you know, you have to. People
are gonna eat. They're gonna need money. They're gonna get it any way you want, regardless of what the government says. And they're being real nicey right now, but they're gonna get tired of this.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I know. And I think that, you know, again, I see these servers in restaurants that are like, they're screwed. I mean, they're really, really, truly in a position where it's like they have, what if they're living day to day, a single mom that waits tables to make, and she lives day by day on her tips and now nothing. And
some people in Congress are saying we need to write checks to every American with the same amount of money that they make from their jobs. Where do they think this money is coming from? They think this printing press is a magic printing press? You know, who voted for these people?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I mean, did they take economics in school? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Right.
You know, we excuse Bernie because we know he's a socialist and this is the way they think. Okay, well, you're never going to change his mind. And that's the way it works in Venezuela and Cuba and the Soviet Union. So, you know, we get that.
Right.
It's America. Hello.
It's true, man. I'm telling you, people are losing their minds. And here's the thing. I truly believe that it's all going to work out. It's going to work out.
It always does, doesn't it?
It does.
We've survived the fall of the Roman Empire and the bubonic plague, and you know, society has a way of thinning out the population for whatever reason, you know, and the healthy survive and the unhealthy don't. You know, the trees that have diseases, they die, and the healthy ones take over, and that's the circle of life.
Well, and you know, look at your own situation. Look at your wife. You know, she had a stroke.
People don't.
Right. She's 23 years now.
Yeah. They say if you have one stroke, you're 50% more likely to have another one, and another 50% to have a third one. And one of those are going to kill you. And it's been 23 years. She's only had one stroke, never happened again. They don't even know why it happened. Just a fluke, you know, maybe a blood clot coming out of the heart blocked the flow of blood. She had one seizure during that time. 23 years, has never had another one.
Wow. And you said she can't talk.
She still cannot talk. She has a vocabulary of about 12 words. Wow. And she uses those words pretty good, but all the other communication is gestures, facial expressions, touching, tonality. No. She could say no 500 different ways, and you know what each no means. You know.
Wow. You said 500 different ways.
Yeah, believe me.
Wow. So so does can she walk or
No, she's paralyzed on one side, so
okay.
so she has her power chair.
Yeah.
She can
Okay.
transfer, thank God, so she can bathe herself with a little help from me transferring her. She
Yeah.
can go to the bathroom by herself. She can cook by herself. She does the laundry. I come home, the dishes are done, the house is clean. I say, where are the elves who helped you, do all of this? Dinner's on the table. She is, I mean, I can't complain about anything. Anyone who meets her walks away saying, oh my God, what am I complaining about?
Right.
This woman is amazing. So there is no excuse. She gives me this look when I complain about my feet hurt. She goes, "Oh, try walking 24 hours in my shoes, buddy." I mean,
Right.
she can't say that, but she has a look that says that,
Yeah. Wow.
right?
Man.
Kids know that look. I mean, a
Yeah.
dad just has to look at that kid from across the room and they know they're in trouble. So
That's so true. My daughters know. They know. So man, you are an incredible human being, and I know
well,
you probably
so
don't.
are you. We all are incredible human
I
beings
agree.
because, when we were born, how did we get here? We are winners. Do you
Yeah.
know when you were born, you won the most important race of your life?
Yeah.
300 million people were rushing to that egg,
Yeah.
and you won. You made it.
That's right.
We're all winners.
I
I
said
don't
that.
believe in giving trophies just for participation, you know? That mediocrity is not an option. Excellence is what this country was built upon. Only the winners should get the trophies.
Dude, you must stick out like a sore thumb in LA. I'm just
I
saying.
try not to talk politics, but I just try to be logical and rational and have common sense. And
Yeah.
if that falls on one side of the political spectrum or the other, then so be it. John Kennedy would be like a conservative today. Ask not what your country can do for you. Really?
Right.
Ask what you can do for your country.
Right.
He's a Democrat? Really? How far have we slid?
Oh, it's insane, man. Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, I'm a John Kennedy Democrat. JFK,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't leave the party left me.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. I ask every guest this. Um, I was not raised in a family of entrepreneurs, although the bug bit me at 7, I think, and never let go.
Really?
But so my mother and stepfather were factory workers and barely getting by. And so I didn't see that growing up. I didn't see it. And as a result, and I didn't go to college, and I said in 12th grade, this is ridiculous. Y'all want me to get a biology credit and graduate. I hate biology. I'm out of here. And I left. So, but I did go out and make a lot of money. So but the point is, I've hit these walls in my life where I was stuck, man, and I did not know how to get through. I really felt like the entire world was going to collapse on me at that moment. And I know that there are a lot of people, especially right now, that are just stuck. What is your biggest piece of advice to somebody who might be stuck right now? They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't have 2 nickels to rub together. They don't know what to do right now. What would you say to that person?
That person needs faith, faith and hope. The Bible says without hope, the people perish. Think of the people at Auschwitz, how did they survive? There was a movie called Life is Beautiful. I don't know if you remember it. It was subtitles. And it talks about having hope. The child was with them, and they kept telling the child, no, this is just a game, and we have to win, and the winner gets to ride on a tank and this and that. If you have faith, and I'm talking about faith in God, but faith is powerful, whether it's faith in God or not. I mean, I have faith in this chair that I'm sitting in that it's not going to collapse.
Right.
When you have faith, you have confidence that things are going to work out. the Bible says all things work for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. I mean, I don't know how else to give advice except what works in my life. I could not have made it if I did not have my faith in God. I would have given up. I would have been depressed. I might have even committed suicide. Who knows? So faith is very, very important. Believe in yourself. Do what's in your power. Do what's in your control, and let God do what's in his control. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
And so many times in 2008, man, I thought I was going under. I thought I was going to have to commit a bankruptcy. I was always going to lose my gas station. I couldn't make the bills. I was defaulting on $500,000 in unsecured debt. I was flipping houses and stuff. Real estate went under. The stock market went under. I've never seen this in my life. And I almost lost my house. And all of a sudden, I just trusted God. I just woke up in the morning pretending that everything was fine. I wasn't delusional because I was believing the scripture that says, you know what? You serve God, he will take care of you in times of famine. There's a story in the Bible, this widow, she had no food. And yet the ravens, or I think it was Elisha the prophet, the ravens brought him food, the birds. And when that dried up, God told him to do something else.
Right.
And another widow, was given oil to sell, olive oil. So God will take care of you. If you need taxes to pay, I mean, he says, go fishing. And there was money in a fish to pay the taxes. Whatever it is, you just have to have faith. And if you don't have faith in God, then reach out to him, because he says, if you reach out to him, he'll reach out to you. And that's my advice to any entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs are godly people, because they have been having those sleepless nights, knowing where's my next dollar going to come from? How am I going to not lay off all my employees? How am I going to not do bankruptcy? Or even if the doctor says, the x-ray says it's cancer, you have to trust, because only God has power over cancer.
Yeah.
And over all that stuff. So that's my advice to you. That's my Dave's hammock wisdom to you.
I love it, man. When's your new book coming out?
The new book, it's like a pregnancy that's going way too long. It should have been out by now. And April was my latest. But, I want it to be really exceptional, and I don't want it to just be mediocre.
Yeah.
And so it may go into the summer. So that's the latest estimate, because I and now with the coronavirus thing and the gas station and all this, it's taking time away from. It's already written. It's just being edited and tweaked and made better and made more relevant. And I've been working on this book. Gosh, I went to Hawaii for a whole month and did it.
Wow.
I transcribed my videos, Dave's Hammock Wisdom, 5 minutes of Dave's Hammock Wisdom. And so I got it on paper, but it just needs more tweaking. And so let's just safely say before the end of summer is over, you will have that book in your hands.
That's awesome.
Because I get a lot of wisdom just on my hammock. And so I say I solve the world's problems, my friends' problems. And I don't want to be selfish. I want to share that with the world.
That's incredible, man. I love it. Yeah, a friend of mine said one time, pray as if you cannot work and work as if there is no God. So,
That's interesting. I have to think about that.
Work like there's no God and pray like you can't work, and believe. I think a lot of people have given up the belief part,
Well, you know what? It's going to come back with this coronavirus. A lot of people living in fear.
Yeah.
And I think, God allows certain things to happen because he wants society. There's one last verse and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and call my name, then will I hear from heaven and look down upon you and heal your land. And man, does this land need healing.
Amen.
We take the 10 commandments out of the classroom because we don't want to teach our kids, don't kill, don't steal, don't lie. Really?
I know.
And maybe that's why, kids are taking guns to school and dropping out and graduating illiterate. Let's get back to the basics. Remember, I forget that famous coach. He says, okay, boys, let's get back to basics. He's holding up a football. This is a football. you know, and that's kind of where we need to go.
Right.
I
love
forget
it.
which coach said that, but
That's awesome. So I don't know either. So that makes two of us.
Tommy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dave, you're an awesome dude. Everybody go to caregiverdave.com. And you said you have some free stuff on there they can sign.
Free gifts.
That's
I'm not
awesome.
going to tell you what they are, but they're awesome. One of them's a book. One of them will help you sleep. And the other one will give you proof whether you're burned out or not. Objective proof.
That's awesome,
It
man.
is.
That's awesome. Dude, you're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
You're awesome.
And it was Vince Lombardi. Bob Donnell just said it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew somebody said it. This is a football.
That's awesome. Listen, everybody that has shared this out, thank you so much. I see Sherry Gideon's just shared it. So thank you to everyone who shared. And Dave, thank you. You're an amazing man. Thank you. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on.
God bless you all.
All right. Hang with me here for a second. I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you guys. We'll see you later.